You look nice.
Thanks, mate. Episode 20. Here we go. What are we going to talk about for this episode?
Today, we are talking about the worst things about being self-employed. What's the worst thing about being self-employed?
Well, so I'm going to caveat the whole discussion first, because we're going to do, this is going to kind of be split up into two. So we're going to start with the worst things, because everybody likes to moan. But then the next episode 21, will be the best things about being self-employed. So yeah, because I think it's very, although we're going to have a really nice conversation about all the things we don't like, I think both of us would agree that being self-employed is easily better than being employed.
Oh, yeah.
And I would never go back. And I would say the worst day of being self-employed is still better than the best day of being employed.
Oh, do you reckon?
No, but we will. But we will crack on. So we'll do the first episode 20, worst, 21, best. What is the worst thing about being self-employed?
The worst thing about
I've got one. If you want me to kick off,
you start.
I would say, and it's totally self-inflicted, but it's the lack of
hope.
Well, should we say? It's the lack of hope. It's the lack of stability, and the lack of stability in finances. 1 month, everything can be amazing and you have enough work, but then if you throw forward just a bit, you think, the next month's looking quite, or what happens if this client pulls a plug or whatever. And whereas if you're employed, if you've got a job, it doesn't really matter as long as that business doesn't go bust. You've got some money coming in. So it's stability in finances, I would say, is something that is, and it's not really talked about, but it's definitely something to sort of think about. And I would say it's difficult to manage mentally sometimes.
I have some processes still in place from when I was last employed. We used to do all our invoicing on the 28th of every month, I think, or if it was a weekend, the Monday after, and we would get paid on the 26th. So those 2 dates are still so firmly sort of embedded in my mind that I do that now. All my invoices go out on those dates. I think just as kind of a dream that I'm still part of that world.
Yeah.
Because
that's quite a good managing technique, though.
Yeah, it does build up towards the end of the month of, I've got to do invoicing on that day. Because I know a lot of people invoice every job as they go. But I prefer the bulk.
Okay.
I think because of that, that regular paycheck, I guess.
It's probably easier to forecast cash flow as well. You know exactly what's coming in and when you're sending those invoices.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't really. But if you're thinking about the mental toll of cash flow coming in, money going out, you don't really suffer from that. So you would. It's not something you're so minted. Doesn't matter.
So rich
that doesn't matter, does it?
I pay for everything with gold bars. It's not true.
Silver bars.
I used to worry about it, but not. I don't think really anymore, because I'm just proactive all the time. It's not, if there is a quieter week or a quieter month, I'm not sitting around thinking, well, it's going to be like this forever. I'm grinding to try and make sure it isn't like that forever.
Yeah.
But that grind, as I'm sure we've spoken about before, shouldn't ever stop, really. Even in your busy times, you should be, pushing the marketing.
If you can, yeah.
Which I guess that's one of the worst things about being self-employed, is that you're doing a lot of all of that stuff by yourself. Until such time that you can get other people to do it for you. So that, I think that maybe brings me on to my one is the list of things to do.
Yep.
It's always there and it's always getting added to. And I feel like it never gets smaller. The sense of accomplishment from ticking something off is brilliant, but I've probably added 5 more things to that list before I've ticked that one off.
Yeah, but in some ways, if you realise that, I mean, you're never, ever, ever, unless you're retiring on a certain day, you're never going to get rid of a to-do list, are you?
No, it's true.
So, and I think you might be bringing up best thing. Oh, I've bloody ruined it.
Ruined it.
No, it's a bit of a teaser for 21.
All right.
Or I can just edit this out.
No, it's fine.
All right. So to-do list, yeah. What gets added to your to-do list? Just admin stuff.
Everything.
Everything. But you do it manually as well, don't you?
Oh, not well. Manually, I have it on the computer now, at least. So I have moved from paper to computer for my to-do lists. So I've got a Trello board. We'll link that in the description, maybe with an affiliate link. We won't. It's free. Don't worry. And yeah, so everything that goes to the top is obviously paid jobs. Need to do that for someone. Needs to do that for someone in whatever order the delivery is due. But underneath it, try to prioritize it by what I think will help most to either clear the decks or to push things forward. But the risk of a Trello board is that you can have lots of lists. So I've got one for work to do today, urgent work, stuff that can wait a while, and then it just goes on and on and on. Stuff for TCC as well on there. And the risk is that there's so much there that it almost becomes, you just can't see it anymore.
Well, so the stuff that you categorize as stuff that can wait, I presume that never gets done.
No, there will be some times I'm like, I've got a spare 10 minutes. What's on that list? And I will go to the little things.
Right. Because maybe the priority will take longer. So you think, can I?
Yeah, so if I'm waiting to join a call or something like that, and I've got 10 minutes left, I'll just see if there's something I can do from there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very easy for it to become unmanageable, just because you just keep adding to it. And I do go through it every few months and think, yeah, I'm not going to do that. That was a rubbish idea. I'm not going to do that. Why did I ever think that would work?
Yeah.
I'll get rid of a load.
It's like, what was that? What was the lady called? Her specialism was feng shui, and she was a minimalist, and she basically went round people's houses, and if it wasn't used in 6 months, you just got rid.
Yeah.
So it's a similar kind of thing to your list. If it's not done within, say, 6 months, I'm not going to do that.
But I can't do what you were just talking about. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember her name now. But I've got stuff in
something
the roof.
Beginning with M.
Martin? Oh, that's mine.
Marie.
Yes.
Conway.
It's not
Kondo.
Conway. That might be it.
Marie Kondo.
Put it in the comments.
Marie, if you're watching.
Yeah, I've got stuff in the roof that's years old.
Nicky, can you just Google that? That's going to really annoy me. Marie, if you just put Marie.
Come on, we've only got 7 minutes left.
Thank you.
One of the worst things about running your own business is you have to work with amateurs sometimes.
Marie. Anyway, okay, we'll come back to it. Oh,
I think she's got it.
No.
Person or famous person?
Pardon?
Is it a local person?
Famous person, yeah. She
She had a series, didn't she?
She was massive for a while.
Is it not Marie Diamond?
No.
Um,
Okay, well, we'll pop it in the show notes.
I'll tell you what,
we won't.
We'll put a pin in that.
Yeah.
You like that?
I love putting a pin in stuff.
But yeah,
Okay.
so one of the worst things for I think it's just because mentally it can have an effect after a while is lists upon lists upon lists, because there's always something to be done. Even if you haven't got paid work, you know there's something to be done.
Yeah.
And when you're having time off, pretty much your brain is thinking, oh, could be doing that. When I get back, I've got to do this, or did I do that?
Okay. Well, that leads perfectly on to something I hadn't really thought about bringing up, but I think I will. You mentioned time off. Having time off, being self-employed. Well, it's easy, of course, because you can have as much time off as you like. But if you're dedicated to the business, it's really difficult, because even on holidays, you're monitoring emails potentially. Well, I am anyway. I'm not sure what I would do if I just sort of didn't monitor my emails or messages for a week. So you're always on. You may be relaxing, you may be doing stuff. So, but I think being employed, to have that clean break. I remember years ago when I was employed, however bad the job was, it didn't make up for it. But that feeling on, say, a Friday afternoon or whenever it was where you got 2 weeks off. Now, you can't, you shouldn't potentially live your life like that because it's, you're going to be working a lot more than not. But it's a lovely feeling, isn't it? Because you just know that I can relax. Or Friday afternoon when you're just signing off for the weekend, you can relax. Whereas in our position, again, self-inflicted, but you don't have that. Well, very rarely do you have that.
No, it's gone.
But is that something, so for me, that can be difficult because if you're feeling a bit low on energy, there's no respite. And if you do say, right, well, I'm just going to do nothing for 2 or 3 days, that catches up with you because you've got loads to do when you come back.
There was a thing a little while ago where people started saying to reframe it. So instead of like if you're on the beach checking your emails, I've got to check my emails. It's not I've got to check my emails. It's I get to check my emails. I have to check my emails, or I'm in this situation. I'm on the beach running my own business, checking my emails.
Okay.
So it's more of a reframe of
I like
actually,
that.
this is cool that I get to do this.
Yeah. Okay.
Rather than I have to do it.
Yeah.
You do have to do it, but it's
I love a good reframe.
Yeah, privileged position.
Yeah. There was a podcast I listened to. This was about 5 years ago. I might have even told you about this. It was a guy called Jocko Willock, something like that. And
did you just make that up?
Yeah, I did. Good mates with Marie Kondo. Whoever she is. I think I made her up as well. He's the sort of the king of reframing. When anything bad happens within reason, rather than being down about it, say, I'm pleased, good. I'm really pleased that that's happened because there'll always, of course, there's extreme examples, but there'll always be a way to reframe it to be more positive. So I really like that example.
But yeah, it's not always possible.
Of course,
especially if something major, like you saying earlier, lost a massive client or something.
Yeah.
How could you reframe that? Cool, I've got loads of free time now. I'll check my emails some more on the beach.
But there will be a way. There will be a way. Okay, so you don't really suffer from that because I know that you obviously work most weekends.
Not as much as I used to.
No.
But quite often I will just get up on a Saturday and Sunday morning whilst everyone's still asleep, just do a bit of editing or something.
Yeah.
Just so that Monday's a bit easier.
Yeah.
That's why I do it. It's not because I'm not managing my work properly or anything like that. It's so that it makes my weekdays a bit lighter.
Yeah.
I guess. So I can go out for lunch, coffee, whatever.
Okay. So is there anything else? The things that you really dislike about being self-employed?
Yes. I think one of them is the amount of advice that people want you to take as gospel.
Oh.
And you don't.
On podcasts? With two blokes chatting?
We're not giving advice.
No, I don't think we are. No.
Hope not. Definitely not qualified. Yeah, and sometimes you think, well, who do I listen to or believe? Why do I have to do that? You're telling me it's the only way to, I don't know, make sales, for example, when I'm doing all right already. And you're just getting thrust so much more information and ways of doing things. I just can't or don't want to keep up with it all. It's just impossible. And I think I get frustrated at thinking sometimes, should I be doing that?
Yeah.
Well, actually, what you're doing is working.
Yeah,
so
exactly. That's Well, that's social media all over, isn't it? Unfortunately, which we can't escape.
That's another one, I suppose, isn't it? One of the worst things about running a business is that you have to be on social media.
You kind of do.
Yeah.
You have to. I think you have to have some kind of presence. I don't. Yeah, it's difficult. I actually try to stay off social media as much as possible, just because I know that if I find myself for even more than 5 minutes looking at LinkedIn or Instagram, I find myself comparing, and you find yourself just getting a bit down at the way of the world and everything. So yes, of course, with my job, I need to be aware of stuff on social media and trends potentially, and what clients want and need. But in terms of me being an active participant in social media, I really try not to, because I think some people can do it, and some people get enjoyment from it. I get very little enjoyment. And yeah, I would 100%, if I wasn't in the role I was in, self-employed, I just don't think I'd touch social media, which I think would be a benefit to me. So maybe that's just sneak another one in there.
Time's up, by the way.
Is it? Done. We're cutting slightly short today because I was very late.
An hour late.
That's not good, is it?
So, worst things about being self-employed.
Instability with finances.
Constant lists.
Yes.
Lists upon lists.
Yeah.
Always being on.
Always being on, yeah. Although we reframed that, you reframed that. That was good. So not having a break, essentially. What was the last one that we were talking about? We were talking about
not having enough brain capacity to remember feng shui expert names.
Yes. Did we get to the bottom of that? No. Okay. Excellent. So I think we've done not a deep dive into the things. I think the good thing is that I think the next episode is going to be a lot harder because there's lots of things to like about being self-employed. And we had to kind of scratch around there a bit, didn't we? So anyway, we'll bring this to a close. Thank you, mate.
That's all right.
Did you bring the game?
No. That went really quickly.
Really quick, yeah. It's because I was talking to Nikki for half of it. Marie. I'm sure it's Marie.
No, I've never.
Never heard of it.
No. What, she had a TV show?
Yeah. Marie Kondo.
Well, it is, yeah. The tidying expert behind the Con Marie method.
Just so you know.
Oh, okay.